but at least as interesting as the creation of this novel is the novel itself, which is a very dark, fascinating look at subculture and the making of art in a lot of ways. So I'm not going to say anything else, and I hope you'll join me in welcoming Jason.
Thank you, Andrew. I think most of the people here know me, so I'm just going to read for about 15 minutes, and then normally we do like question and answer, but if you want to ask questions, that's fine. This is a little bit censored, cut out some of the profanity, but this is from the beginning. When I get to the club, Reggie's already there, sitting in a clamshell booth like he's riding the teacups at Coney Island. This is where we meet, and this is where Reggie gives me my assignments. On stage, a stripper sits on a blanket, waiting for someone to approach the tip rail. Tanned and blonde, she's got an airbrush look I associate with glossy magazine covers. She's hot enough to be working a much nicer club, which explains why she looks so pissed. Plus, it's 1 in the afternoon and no one's here. Reggie, he's sitting back in a blousy silk shirt, tapping the faux leather booth pad. Says Las Vegas on the back, even though you can't see it. 2 envelopes on the table, and only one of them is mine. Music plays, and looking over, I see the stripper turn away from the jukebox and hop back up on stage. With his good hand, Reggie slaps the table like a buzzer. Shouts out the name of the song like on Name That Tune. He snaps the wheel of his Zippo, producing a short yellow flame. Goes, this place should have a DJ. The girls here, each one dances to the same 3 songs, their official pole work soundtracks. Mondays, only 3 girls work, so it's the same 9 tracks all day and night, and after a while, you don't even hear the music. Reggie lights a cigarette. Snapping his Zippo closed, he goes, she looks like Marilyn. I glance at the girl on stage, and the way she looks, you could mean Monroe or Chambers. I know he means Marilyn Chambers because Reggie refers to all his favorite porn stars this way. This girl looks like Linda, that girl looks like Jenna. The girls, when they act in his movies, he refers to them as talent. Marilyn Chambers, Reggie says he knew her before Green Door, says he knew her back when she was the cover girl in the Ivory Snow soapbox, before she was dropped by Procter & Gamble. One time, he showed me this picture of the 2 of them together back in the day. In the picture, Reggie sort of looks like a young Sylvester Stallone. Says that's how come they still call him Sly. I'm not sure who he means by they, but whoever they are, I doubt Sly's got anything to do with Reggie's looks. Black hair slicked back, he speaks with a smarmy accent, even though this is where he's from. Nowadays, he looks more like the cook in a Greek diner than the Italian stallion. Remember the time, he says? Remember the time you went out with that stripper because she reminded you of your ex-girlfriend? Don't start this, I say. Remember the time? Once I dated a girl an entire summer because I thought her father looked like Bruce Willis. I mean, that's not exactly how it happened. This girl, I mentioned that her father looked like Bruce. She told her father, and after that, he treated me like the son he never had. Reggie, he's the father I never wanted. He's my mentor, my business partner, the devil in my ear. He doesn't own this place, but he uses it for an office. That news report where 2 girls were arrested for leaving a baby in the back of a freezing car while they got drunk at a strip club, this is where it happened. They came in for an interview, and Reggie started feeding them drinks. On the window of the car, one of those bright yellow signs that say, baby on board. When they come in to be interviewed, girls always put bisexual in the questionnaire. Remember the time, Reggie says, but just then we're interrupted by police. It's one cop, actually, and he's here for one of the envelopes. He slides it off the table, shoots the shit, and then leaves. The girl on stage swings around the pole like a tetherball, track marks on her arm. Music stops, and she walks off like Linus with his blanket. Saturday afternoon, and I'm riding the escalator up toward the food court. I look twice at the guy riding down because he's flossing his teeth. You gotta love the way some old people just don't give a shit, live long enough and every second counts. I'm eating Chinese food off a styrofoam plate when my cell phone rings. In the mall food court, every restaurant's Chinese. The China King, the Texas barbecue, Cafe Europa, Bourbon Street Grill. All these restaurants, all they serve is fried rice and boneless spare ribs, some sort of orange or honey chicken. Rice drops off my white plastic fork as I answer the phone. What the hell, Reggie says, the disc you gave me is blank. I picture him in the club, his laptop on a table in front of him, a stripper maybe sitting on his lap. No, it's not, I say. It's blank, he says, and I say, flip the damn thing over. The disc, I mean, not the imaginary stripper. Ah, Reggie says, what would I do without you? The disc he's talking about, it's what I traded for my envelope, weekend footage from the nanny cams I set up at this rest area on I-95. 3 different cameras, 3 different angles. If I get caught doing this, chances are I go to prison. Did you edit yet, Reggie asks. Yes, I say, of course. These spy cams, he wants them in the men's room, above the entrance over the stalls. By edit, he means cut the dead time, leave the people in. I'm not a ghost hunter, Reggie tells me. He doesn't want to spend 10 hours looking at a mirror. Last time I had 90 minutes of wet paper towels decomposing in a sink. Last time he spent half an hour watching vermin scurry across the floor. A broken shoelace and overflowing toilet. My job performance is nowhere near good enough to be pulling this crap. Reggie thinks of me as his hired geek, his tech support. The truth is that I'm learning as I go. If Reggie catches people in a rest stop bathroom, he promises to blur their faces before posting the clip online. After all, he says, one has to have some ethics in this business. He sends me on trips down I-95, down to Maryland and Virginia, pays my gas and tolls, pays for my room at the Motel 6. Reggie says there's a better chance of catching politicians in rest stops near D.C. Plus, it's safer not to set up in the same place twice. Everyone drinks from the same well, Reggie says, so it's best not to keep going back. Stairs between escalators leading up to the Showcase Cinema above the food court. The Cinema Deluxe. Up there, it's $6 for popcorn and tickets are $10.75. If you see a movie in the director's hall, for $12 you get to choose your seat in advance. A medium coffee, that's $3, which is why they won't let you bring your own. Soda, you can have it in a plastic tub for $1 more. Meanwhile, it's payday. My paychecks always come in these wrinkled envelopes, every other week wrapped in rubber bands, everything off the books. Now money's spread across the table. I count out 20 $100 bills, $2 grand smeared with fried grease and duck sauce. This is twice what I normally get, but I won't ask why. I have an idea about why, but the truth is, I don't want to know. My phone beeps alerting me to a text message. Never look a gift horse in the mouth. Money talks, another one of Reggie's mottos. Also, take what you need and run. When I get home, a message from Pete on my voicemail. Big news, Pete says, he's getting married. Pete Berman, my oldest friend, he doesn't need a best man, he wants me to film his wedding. In high school, Pete and I managed to get thrown off the school paper together. The story goes, Pete calls the field hockey coach and lies about writing an article to get this girl's phone number for me. The girl is the captain of the field hockey team, and Pete claims he needs an interview. The phone number is unlisted, and the coach, he calls the school to verify Pete's story, but not before giving him the number and not before I called it. Meanwhile, we've just submitted our first article for the paper. They sent us to review a movie, but our review turned into a story about the two of us trying to pick up girls in the theater. Nevertheless, when the principal calls us in for his lecture on ethics and journalism, he says the paper still wants to run our piece. At our 5-year reunion, the captain of the field hockey team and the coach, they show up as a couple. Now Pete thinks I'm a videographer. I think you want to stop there. It's long enough. Hello. So, does anyone have any questions?
How long have you been writing, and what was the earliest recollection that you remember that you knew that you wanted to be a writer?
Well, I've been writing seriously for about, since college, 10 years or so. The earliest recollection was, maybe I was 8 or 9 years old, and I think it was when I realized it was a job you could do from home.
What's the 3-day novel contest?
The 3-day novel contest is, it's been going on for 32 years. I guess it was founded in 1977 in a bar somewhere in Canada where a couple of writers were talking about Jack Kerouac and other famous manuscripts that have been banged out in a very short period of time, and they, made a bet about whether or not they could complete a manuscript, a novel-length book in a 3-day long weekend. And it kind of took off from there, and this is what I was told when I went to the launch, and they were telling the story about it. But I discovered it, I just did a Google search of novel contests, and it was like, a professor had recommended that I try out these contests, and really just found out about it like a couple of weeks before the entry period ended. So it was kind of serendipitous, I guess. But basically, you try to write your novel over Labor Day weekend every year, and they have like maybe 1,000 people enter the contest, and maybe half of them actually finish a book and send it in. So that's what it is. And I guess also in 2006 and 2007 they had a reality TV series where they filmed people doing this, and only the first season made it on like Book TV in Canada, but they're talking about trying to get the second season aired, which was in 2007. That's pretty much all I know about it. I mean,
What was it like? I mean, did you just sit in a room and write the whole time? Did you talk to other people? Were there workshops? I mean...
Well, I did. I mean, I was living with my brother at the time, and
Raise your hand.
there it is. And Adam says, I have very little like memory of the actual 3 days, because I compare it to like when you stay up all night studying for a test in college, and you might get an A on the test, but a week later not remember half the answers because it's just so much condensed into a short period of time. I didn't know what I had done until after I found out that I'd won the contest, and was forced to go back and read through it again for the first time, working with an editor. And I mean, a lot of it was, I was lucky the way it came together during that time. But yeah, I mean, it's a difficult experience to talk about. I mean, that's what a lot of people say, that they don't remember it.
What was your inspiration for writing the story?
Inspiration for the story? Well, I told this story once before at the launch. Beginning of 2008, I decided that I was going to give myself one more year to try to publish a book and then move on to something else. If that didn't happen, I was about to turn 30. And so I threw myself into revising the first novel that I'd written in college, and I was literally at my computer 12, 14 hours a day. And when I would take a break from writing, I would spend time on like websites like YouTube watching videos, and that's how I got the idea for a character.